Let's bring in our first guest of the day, attorney Rosie Nunez. Rosie, hello.
Hi,
how are you? Nice to see
well.
you. What's new with Rosie Nunez?
Same old thing. Still practicing bankruptcy and disability law, helping my clients.
It's December 2nd. Is there still time to do a bankruptcy before the end of the year?
Of course.
Is this a good time to do one?
It is, because you can file bankruptcy, get rid of your credit card bills, and then go Christmas shopping.
Can you really do that?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Now, when you say get rid of your bills, when someone goes and files for bankruptcy, do they go away, or do you have to pay them back? How does it work?
Well, you have to qualify for bankruptcy, so we do look at your income, and if based on your income you meet the guidelines, then you could possibly file for what's called Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and in that chapter you are able to eliminate usually 100% of unsecured debt, which includes medical bills, credit cards, personal loans. You can get rid of 100% of it, and you never have to pay it back.
And then what does that do to your credit rating?
Well, it does affect it. It does affect it. Of course, nobody wants a bankruptcy on their credit history, but it is something that happens more commonly than we think. We all pretty much know somebody who's filed bankruptcy, but you are able to recover from it. And a lot of times, the bankruptcy helps my clients because their credit is already so bad because they've fallen behind on their payments, or they're just so over the top with debt that their income can't match it, and so their credit score is already really bad.
After you file the bankruptcy and you go through it, how long does it take?
The process itself?
Yeah.
It usually only takes about 3.5 to 4 months from start to finish. From the moment we file the petition to the point where the court closes the case, it's about 4 months.
And the people that are filing bankruptcy, they're filing it because of a lot of things. One is, like you said, their income doesn't match their bills. But another is they're probably getting harassed by people all the time on the phone. But as soon as the bankruptcy starts, all that stuff stops, right?
All of it immediately stops. That's the really great thing about bankruptcy, is that I get calls from people who are being evicted. They're behind on their rent, or behind on their mortgage. They're about to lose their house. They're about to face foreclosure. People who have been sued, and the creditor is now going to garnish their wages at 25% of every paycheck. And that kind of stuff we're able to stop with a bankruptcy filing, and everything stops immediately. They are legally prohibited from even communicating with the client.
So even on a foreclosure, it stops it right then?
It stops it. It doesn't make it go away forever, but it does buy you time to try to figure something out.
That's interesting. Now, on a foreclosure, a lot of times you're trying to work with the bank and get something worked out with them so you can keep your house. Now, you come up and you go, boom, bankruptcy, and that stops everything, and they're like, I don't know if I want to work with this person anymore. Does that happen?
Well, it's not that they don't want to work with that person. This has happened so much now that mortgage companies understand that sometimes a bankruptcy has to be filed in order to stop what's about to happen, to stop that foreclosure. But yes, sometimes I do help clients who are in the middle of trying to do a loan modification, but the mortgage company isn't cooperating. They're not willing to help, and they're
going to go ahead and they're going to take that house.
Exactly. They're going forward with that foreclosure anyway. So sometimes it's our last resort. It's the last thing that we've got left to do, and so we do file the bankruptcy. We buy some more time, and it allows it to go for that loan to move from the loan modification department in that mortgage company to go into the bankruptcy department, and then we can start talking to attorneys who are more cooperative.
Okay. Now, how much does it cost? Because that's got to be a factor too, right?
Of course, and it just all depends. It all depends on the specific situation. What kind of debt you have, how many cars you own or are making payments on, if you own property, if you've got a bunch of money in the bank, if you own stock. I mean, there's just so many things that factor in, and it all depends on that. So it's just whatever's going to take more time or more attention, that's going to kind of
And this whole time we've been talking about Chapter 7, but there's another kind of bankruptcy also.
There is another chapter called Chapter 13, which is not as commonly filed. Chapter 13 is for people who've got a higher income, and so the court says, you know what, we're going to forgive some of the debt, but you're also going to have to make payments on the other part. Or sometimes people own a lot of properties. They've got houses all over California, or they've got different assets that they don't want to surrender in a bankruptcy.
Well, they don't want to sell them because there's probably liens on them too, right?
Well, not necessarily. When you file Chapter 13 because you own property, it's because it's worth something. You own it free and clear most of the time, or you've got a lot of equity in it, and you don't want to surrender it to that bankruptcy trustee, and so you agree to go to bankruptcy, do a Chapter 13, and you make payments interest-free on the debt.
So not a bad deal either, right?
It's not a bad deal.
Okay. Again, just for if there's people out there that are watching going, maybe I should call Rosie. How much is it to do a bankruptcy?
Well, I do offer a absolutely free consultation, no obligation to come in and talk to me, tell me what you're going through, what kind of bills you have, what kind of properties you own, and then at that point I can tell you an exact quote.
Okay. Now, you don't just do bankruptcy. There's other types of law that you practice, right?
Yes, I also practice Social Security disability.
Ooh. So that's a big one too, right?
It is on the rise.
Because there's a lot of people out there that deserve their Social Security or disability that aren't getting it.
Exactly. There are so many people. In fact, 67% of initial applications are denied by Social Security.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people get really discouraged, especially the way Social Security writes those denial letters. They just specifically tell you, we understand that you have this disease or this issue, but it's not severe and you should go back to work. And it's very discouraging for the person reading that. And they sometimes believe it and think, okay, maybe I should go back to work. Maybe there are people that are far sicker than I am, and I should be going back to work. So it's very discouraging. So sometimes
that's sad to me. You know why? Because somewhere there's some guy going, you know what? If we turn 67% of them down, this percentage of them won't fight us on it.
Exactly. That is exactly what their mode of operation is let's get them to go away, and we won't have to pay them.
We'll only deal with the persistent ones.
Exactly. Yeah, or the people who have an attorney, who get smart, who get an attorney and pursue it.
Awesome. Now, again, that's a no cost to come talk to you, right?
Right. It's no fee for the consultation, and the wonderful thing about Social Security disability is that I also don't charge any attorney fees up front. So if we don't win the case, if we are not successful in obtaining those benefits, the client doesn't have to pay me anything. There is no fee. So there's really no risk in coming to see me and retaining my services. If we do win, then Social Security says that I can collect 25% of the client's back pay. So everything they've been denying them up to that point, 25% will be my fee.
That they weren't going to get anyway.
That they weren't going to get anyway. And it's worth it to them because now you're still going to keep 75% of that back pay and then all of your future monthly payments.
And how long can that back pay go?
I've helped people who, they retain me and a month later we win their case. And so my fee is very, very small.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's great for the client. They immediately start getting their benefits. And then I have other clients who unfortunately have had to wait a year and a half, 2 years, just because the case is different. Every situation is different.
Cool. How do they get a hold of you, Rosie?
They can call my office at 221-2677.
Okay. All right. Happy holidays to you. Always good to see you.
You too.
Call my friend Rosie Nunez. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on The Buzz.